Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United versus Tottenham preview and transfer news. Apologies, I'm a little bit late, but literally at the moment, you plan to go live and then you've got people on your phone, your direct messages. There's so much going on with United at the moment. And look, we are going to talk about Tottenham and Manchester United, but it does sort of sit second place to what's going on in the transfer market. However, momentum is key. And I think when you look at what Tottenham have done, the results they've had, but also the transfers that they've done, they're coming into this game with real momentum. We're coming into this game with confusion and not prepared. And I think that, in a transfer sense is a story, but it will be reflected in the pitch as well. I don't think United are going to turn up for this game on Sunday and win it 3 or 4-0. I don't think we can do that. I don't think the team's got the confidence, the fluidity, or the preparation to do that. I think we can win on Sunday, but I think it could be by a penalty and they hit the post 3 times, something like that. But we'll talk about that in a minute because the transfer news is escalating. It has to. The transfer deadline is coming very soon. The latest I can tell you in relation to what's going on, we're hearing that Manchester United are very close to an Usman Dembele deal. I wouldn't necessarily believe that, but Paul Pogba has apparently convinced him, and 50 million euros to sign him is being spoken about. I mean, the amazeballs about this story is that this is a player that didn't want to come to our club, that we've had to beg to come. This is a player that has a huge injury record. This is a player that wasn't on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's list at all. This is a player that Barcelona are desperate to sell. This is a player that Manchester United were considering as an emergency last-minute loan, who have now been manoeuvred into buying him. I mean, this is how desperate and stupid we are. This was going to be a loan deal. This was like Kingsley Coman, who Bayern said no. This was a player that, we'll get him in on a loan as a last-ditch thing. Barcelona have said, forget a loan, you're going to have to buy him. And United are now negotiating to buy him. Not only is it stupid at last-minute loan, they're now apparently looking to buy the player. Absolute mess. Mess is what's going on. However, to swing it back towards Sancho, the situation with Sancho, and I wouldn't normally say this, and we need to talk about Dan James as well, and I've been told I can say this, is that there has been an expectation for the last 48 hours that United would bid for Jadon Sancho, that they were going to put a bid in. That bid hasn't gone in yet. Why it's not gone in, a couple of people have said, I don't know. There was an expectation this bid would go in last night, today, it's still not gone in. Will it go in? Won't it go in? Is now the question. Man United may not even put the bid in, but this bid, that the final bid, whatever, the bid that gets the deal done, has been expected to go in for about 48 hours from Manchester United. It hasn't gone in yet. It may not go in. But this is where the confidence has always been about this, that United would just put the bid in and get the player done. Dortmund are coming out with the same odd stuff. I accept that this deal won't happen. The manager, Michael Zorc, all this stuff is there. And I think we're going to get a good update from Michael Zorc, hopefully. I've just been speaking to somebody there, and I'm not going to give their details, but apparently they're going to get a bit of an update from Michael Zorc himself. So hopefully we'll be able to talk to you about that a little bit later. Because I've asked, apparently they've got an interview with him. They said, would we want to ask a question indirectly? And I said, in relation to Michael Zorc at Dortmund, who is their sporting director, I'd love him to give his opinion on the way United do transfers, because they beat us to Haaland, they beat us to Bellingham, and they've totally and utterly controlled this Sancho saga. So what's their perception of United? Should United have a director for? I'd love him to answer that question. But anyway, there still can be a bid from Man United for Jadon Sancho, and I wouldn't give up on that. I wouldn't give up on that at all. And there has been an expected bid from the United side and the people around United that bid would go in. It's not gone in yet. It's interesting that ESPN are saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to sell Dan James to fund the Jadon Sancho deal. And I think, primarily, if United don't sign Sancho, it's not because of a lack of money, it's because the board have let Solskjaer down. We spoke about this right at the start of the transfer window, and it's important just to rewind for a moment. We spoke about this at the start of the transfer window, that United expected to raise around £70 million in sales. Whether that was 20 from Delo, 15 from Smalling, 10 from Roja, you can start, 10 from Romero, maybe Lingard goes. 70 million was what they expected to raise to go with whatever they had. They've raised nothing. At this moment in time, it is zero. There was no money raised from Sanchez. It was saved money. It wasn't raised. He didn't get sold. Smalling still hasn't gone. They've sold nobody. So United have got a real shortfall in their transfer budget because they've not been able to move players on. Dan James is a player that Leeds are looking at. There's a talk that Leeds would do a deal for Dan James for £25 million. And what ESPN are saying, and it's Mark Ogden, I think, who said it, who was right about our budget last year, so he's obviously got good connections somewhere. He's saying that Solskjaer wants to sell Dan James because it's a good offer and he'll never be a first-team player at United. United, apparently, Ed Woodward is saying, we don't really want to send that message out that, we're going to sell a young player a year later. If it's not good enough, it's not good enough. Remember with Dan James what we always said? We all said when we bought Dan James, for £15 million, it's worth the risk. Let's see how it goes. Now, I would agree that after 1 year, it's a little bit too soon to let him go. But if I sat you all down individually and I ask you now, is Dan James ever going to be a first-team player for Manchester United? Give me an honest answer. Because to me, no, he's not. And if we can sell Dan James for 20 million quid and that 20 million pounds means we can buy Jadon Sancho, for me, let's do it. Because the difference is huge. You can't keep Dan James and then not get Jadon Sancho because you're 20 million short. If that 20 million gets us Jadon Sancho, and I think that's what Mark Ogden's piece is basically saying, because we think United's offer is around sort of 90 million. That 20 million gives you 110, gets the deal done. If that means selling Dan James, do it. Just do it. That's my opinion. Dembele and Phil Jones going to be besties if he joins, says Vivian Charles. And my first super chat, even if we get Sancho now, when Bale went to Madrid last day of window, he was poor that season. Board have not allowed Sancho to integrate into the team. Great work, Mark, plus the United stand, says Kazim. Thank you for the super chat there. So, yeah, I mean, look, if that's what Ollie's trying to do, but apparently the board are against doing that. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could potentially be saying sell this player to Leeds because it's a good offer, and the board could say, nah, we're not going to do that because we think it's the bad message to send out. The bad message to send out is your total incompetence. Don't get involved in football matters. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says sell Dan James, it's a good offer, sell Dan James. Don't stick your nose into something you haven't got a bloody clue about and have proven you haven't got a clue about for the last 8 years. So where we are at the moment, shambolic, desperate, all over the place. Yes, yes, yes. L'Equipe, who are a French outlet, are saying that Manchester United are very close to a deal for Ousmane Dembele and that it's a purchase deal. We're going to buy him, not loan him. I mean, the deal just gets worse. It gets worse and worse. But what I would say is, Dan James ain't good enough, says Sean Negative Turner. Let's be honest, Maguire, Lindelof, Bailly, Jones, Williams, Fred, McTominay, Lingard aren't good enough either. Absolute joke club. Relaxed, they said. We can all see how relaxed they are now. Pogba to convince a player who isn't interested. I want Pogba to leave. He deserves better, says Tejas. And I'm finished, Mark. Sancho isn't coming. I'm dead inside. Just imagine how these players feel. I feel this season is going to be enough and sad, says Bustin' Up. Well, look, I was having a chat with somebody about an hour ago, and we were talking about the Dembele deal, and they were saying that they surely can't do the Dembele deal because the fans will go mad. And I said, well, but realistically, United employed somebody for PR, Neil Ashton, for PR. They monitor what the fans feel. I actually think they could not put the bid in for Sancho now and do the Dembele deal because there's enough out there. There's enough. I think they're a minority, but there's enough out there that are going, you know what, maybe Dembele's worth it. And United will home in on that and they'll go, you know what, if we can just get a bit of the fan base that are positive about it, that can maybe grow. And this deal is cheap and we got dividends and shareholders to pay. So let's do this deal. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride, but transfer window closed on Monday, international break for 2 weeks. They can get used to Dembele and then they'll all forget about Sancho in 2 weeks. We've saved a load of money. We move on and all the pressure's on Ollie and the players, not us. And that is the conversation I had an hour ago, is that what you need for this deal not to happen, United fans need to all be against it and say it's a bloody joke. But there isn't. There's some fans out there going, oh, actually, you know what? Dembele's a baller. He could be a really good signing. I like it. And there are a few people doing that. And I think that is maybe why United haven't gone in with the bid for Sancho, because they're thinking, hold on a minute. This deal, maybe we can slip it in. Maybe we can get away with doing it. Because, to be honest, once the window's closed, we all disappear into the background. It's Ollie who's got to deal with our mess. And that's the truth, isn't it? Once the transfer window's closed and Dembele's a Man United player, it's Ollie who will get the blame for Dembele. It's Ollie who will get the heat if we start losing games because Dembele's crap or not fit. It's Ollie who will lose his job. And that is the conversation I was having an hour ago with someone, is that United are a very clever club. Ultimately, Dembele, as stupid a signing as it is, it saves the club about 60 million quid from what Sancho would do. And they just offload the risk onto Ollie and say, well, we gave you a chance, you're sacked. Who's next? So, I mean, look, I'm not going to be happy about this deal. I think it's a bloody disgrace. I think it really is. But, you know, just into the way that the club might work with their PR and go, you know what, it's a calculated risk, let's do it. I would rather take Salah. He has similar number of goals and assists as Dembele and has his hamstrings aren't his hamstrings aren't made of breadsticks. Breadsticks is our own deal. Oh God, can't bloody talk. I can't bloody talk. This transfer window is doing me in. Thanks for the super chat, Albra. Carver, sporting director, came out and said no talks with Manchester United and Dembele is going nowhere. Barca, says Usman. Mark, always act surprised. It's United. Listen, the Glazers will never leave. Would you throw 100 million away for a few moaning? We got to get used to this, as Dean Doherty. Sarab says, looking how incompetent the board is, I am starting to believe that even Moyes could have succeeded. It has always been the board. Glazers out. And Sean says, the problem is the longer they leave Sancho, fans will just want anyone and they accept Dembele. Says Sean. Exactly. You know, they can probably read you and play you like a fiddle, really. And super chat from William Redpath. He says, we have wasted our time and Dortmund have overvalued a player who has won nothing and isn't Premier League proven. We should have gone for Upamecano and Telles. Different tact there. So, yeah, in relation to transfers, I can quite honestly tell you this. Nothing has changed. There is a lot of talk about Dembele like there was last night. There is still no change in Sancho. And we haven't got Telles yet and we haven't sold anybody. And we are now well into Friday afternoon. So time is absolutely running out ridiculously fast. And that's where we are with it. As I said, a lot of this is out there anyway, but I can tell you what I was told privately by a few people is that there has been an expectation that United would put a bid in for Jadon Sancho. And that hasn't materialised in the sense that it just hasn't. They haven't put that bid in that everyone expected to do. Whether they are going to put that bid in now, is your guess. I still think that they will. I think they. I mean, what I would say to Manchester United is you've got an opportunity to really please your fans. I still think it's too late, but I think you've still got an opportunity to do the deal that everyone wants to happen. I mean, Michael Zorg has said some things. Dortmund's director, he said that, of course, we communicated with United in the past, but everything there is to tell on this matter from our end has already been said, and that won't change over the next 3 days. But that doesn't mean it's over. That just means they want 120 million euro. United have not given up on Jadon Sancho. Sources say Dortmund have never directly relayed to United that they're not willing to sell Sancho, leading them to believe a deal is still possible. That's from ESPN. Sevilla's Lucas Ocampos has emerged as another option, and this is from ESPN, that United representatives have been looking at him as a potential right-wing option as well. It's just desperation. It's absolute desperation. I'm sure at some point we're going to have some activity around that right-wing position, but at the moment, your guess is as good as anybody's. I still think they will put this bid in for Sancho and do it, but time is of the essence. Not that it matters, but you can already see all the memes of Dembele kick-ups and in the wheelchair every time he has a bad performance. He is, says Aram Heckman. I mean, look, Dembele, whatever you want to call him, he's destined to fail. He's destined to fail. He'll either get injured or he'll do okay, but every mistake he makes will be scrutinised. He is destined to fail because it's a bad signing. It cannot work. The only way it would work is if he stayed fit, which I don't think he can, and then every game he was super class for like 3 months, and everyone would go, what a great signing. I don't see any of those things happening. He's destined to fail if it happens. There is no way we won't sign Sancho. Shirt sales will be out of this world given the inconvenience of the time it's taken, says John. And don't see much happening over the weekend. Tonight's the night, says Tejas Danny. I hope so. I really do. But look, I must just talk about this game against Tottenham because we talk about transfers and I accept that that is the most important thing. This is how I think we'll line up against Tottenham. I don't think Donny van der Beek will start, and I actually don't agree with him starting. I think if Pogba is fit and he's looking fitter, he should start, and obviously Bruno's got to start. The same with De Gea in goal. I think Henderson's pushing him hard. I think Van der Beek is pushing hard, but I wouldn't play either of them at the moment. Centre-back is the big thing. I actually think he might play Lindelof and Maguire. I think he might do. But Bay has got to start. The one thing that worries me about Spurs and Jose is that he will keep it tight and he will look to hit us on the break. Now, they don't have Son for the ball over the top, but they still have the ball over the top because our centre-backs aren't quick if it's Lindelof and Maguire. So we need Eric Bailly for his pace and also for his form. Eric Bailly has got to start, but I'm telling you now, he might start Lindelof because he's done it before. Whenever we think Bailly's done enough to start, it's always Lindelof. So that might be how it goes. Front three are going to be really important in this game, and the fitness levels are important. If we can move 25% forward from where we were against Brighton, we've got a very good chance in this game. This is a must-win game. You know, we're all focused on transfers. If we don't beat Spurs and we go into the international break with 4 points from 9, we've got a really hard time in October. We've got Arsenal to play, Chelsea to play, we've got PSG, RB Leipzig. We've got to beat Spurs on Sunday, and I would say I don't mind if Spurs smash the post 10 times and we get a penalty and win it 1-0. I don't care. It's about the points, because what I will say is, and I don't put any of the blame at Ollie's door or the players here, we're not prepared and we still haven't got the transfer business done that we needed to get done. So for me, Sunday is about getting the win however we can get it. So he's got to go with that team. We've got to play on the front foot. We've got to play with confidence and we've got to work really hard. And ultimately, if we come out with 3 points, then what has been a horrible start to the season in relation to preparation and transfers in and out and, you know, the whole demeanour of the club, if we can come out with 6 points after that opening day loss from Palace, I'll be very, very happy in relation to what the team has achieved in a very difficult sense. But I don't think it's going to be easy. I think Spurs, people thinking Spurs, oh, they played on Thursday night. I think it's too early in the season to be struggling with fatigue. I think they come into it with momentum, with belief, with goals. They're looking fluid. You know, if I'm doing percentages here, if I'm still 90% we can get a Jadon Sancho deal, what's my percentage of the result on Sunday? I think there's probably, how would I do this? I think there's a 30% chance we'll win. I think there's a 50% chance there'll be a draw. And I think there's a 20% chance Spurs will win. So that's how I feel. 30% chance we'll win. 50% chance there'll be a draw. 20% chance there'll be a Spurs win. So, you know, it's tight, isn't it? And we need to find a way to win. I think I'd rather focus on our defence and get an Upamecano than improve our already decent strike force, says Wilsley. We're going to destroy Spurs. Rashford is in the mood, baby, says James Rodriguez. I hope so, mate. I do think that Bruno is coming back to real form. I think Rashford's looking a bit sharper. Martial isn't going to stay rusty forever. Greenwood as well. So I think that United are coming back to form, and I think they will be in a strong position. Apparently Fabrizio Romano has tweeted, it's only what I've already told you about Michael Zorg, so that's fine. But just on that previous point about Upamecano, can I just say this? I feel this, okay? Chris Smalling has officially agreed a deal for Roma. Done deal. That's just coming through. I'm just going to tweet that out. So Smalling's gone. I don't know what the fee is, but that's a good thing. But look, I said this last night. The reason I'm in the 90% club is because of things I get told, and that is that United will put a bid in for Jadon Sancho, a real bid for Jadon Sancho. I've been told that. Diago Suarez de Reyes says Sancho, for fuck's sake. So I've been told that. That's why I've always been very confident it would happen. If that bid doesn't go in, it won't happen. But what I would say is this. I would never have been 90% at the start of August if the information I'd have got is that United will not go above 70 million. Dortmund will not take 70 million, so the deal's off. If I'd got told that in August, I would have moved away from it and said, look, it'd be nice to do it, but we're not going to do it. We ain't got the money. And as I said to you last night, if we've only got 70 million quid and we've got no intention of going higher than that, the deal was off. The deal was off in August. So why have we spent 2 months still working on that deal, still being the priority? Because we have got the money to do it. If we didn't have the money to do it, I would have quite happily said, like that person said there, we'll get up Meccano then. Let's not bother with a right winger this year. Let's get the other priority. Because if we get a right winger, we're not getting a centre-back. So you're quite right to say, I'd rather get up Meccano than Sancho, because they are the two priority positions and we're not getting both. So you take your choice. I'd rather get Sancho than a centre-back. If you would rather get a centre-back, that's fine. But the thing for me that really annoys me is if this deal didn't happen, and I still think it's a big if it doesn't happen, because of money, well, if we've always known we didn't have the money, so why have we spent so long on it? And also, as I said, you're telling me if you've got 70 million quid, you couldn't have gone to Wolves and said there's 60 million for Traore and they wouldn't have took it. I mean, they've just took 40 million for Jota in a constructed deal. Now, they wouldn't do it now. It's too late. No way. But we could have got in before Liverpool got in on Jota in early August and said there's 60 million for Traore. They probably would have took it. They might have said 70. We would have said 65. Fine, let's get it done. But we could have gone for Adama Traore in August with the budget that we've got, and we didn't. We focused on this one. We kept saying we're going to do this one. And now, if we don't do this one, we're going to do something stupid. We're going to go and get somebody with an injury record who we shouldn't be buying. So it's all a mess. The Sancho obsession for me was always about the statement of the signing, because he's one of the world's best players in his age group and his position. And that's very exciting, and that's the deal we should do. But if we never had the money to do it, we should have gone for an Adama Traore. That's what we should have done. And what we're actually going to do, if we fail, is we're not going to get the player we want, and then we're going to desperately chuck money at something that we should never chuck money at. Woodward is a big joke, says Stian United. I can't understand that the sponsors Adidas and Chevrolet support this kind of running of the biggest club in the world. They need to do something. Yeah, but the thing is, Stian, everybody buys the zebra top. Everybody buys the new home shirt. Do you think Adidas really care about the morals of Manchester United when everybody's buying their shirts? It doesn't. They don't care. Adidas don't care. As long as you buy the shirts, they don't care. Give us your best comedic metaphor regarding the Sancho fiasco, says Christopher Hurst. I mean, there is one. There definitely is one. If Sancho joins Mark, we'll be all over the haters like a fat kid in a candy shop. Says Abraham Lincoln. There's still time. I would take Sancho and Dembele only because he's left-footed in great competition, says Pete Squire. That won't happen, Pete, because Barcelona won't loan us. They want us. We're going to pay money if we get Dembele, which is a disgrace. And Dembele's hype is a mistaken byproduct of Neymar's PSG transfer. Might as well give Greenwood a full run, then fill a Dembele bed in the hospital, says Vicky189. I mean, look, if you want a bit of an analogy of the Jadon Sancho situation, if we don't sign him, basically, this is like marrying your dream girl or boy, could be a boy, equality. So it's like marrying your dream girl, and everybody's telling you you can't afford this wedding. Just have 50 people there, registry office. We'll have the reception down the local pub. And you can go and have our caravan in Cornwall for your honeymoon. No. We're having the best wedding you can. St Paul's Cathedral. We're booking out the Hilton for the reception. Straight after that, we're off on a world tour everywhere. Dead expensive. Best dress you can buy. Best cake. We're doing the lot. Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Because we can. It's gonna be great, and you know what's gonna really happen is I've booked all this expense on this wedding, and I guarantee you when I come to pay at the end, I'm gonna say I can only afford half of it, and they'll just have to take it because I've booked that hotel, I've booked that wedding. I don't think it'll work like that. They'll probably just say piss off and not let you have the wedding. Don't be stupid. We'll book it all out. We'll make a big deal of it, and then I'll say I'm only going to give them half price, and then they'll just have to take it because it's all booked up. I'm not sure that's going to work. What happens? Wedding day. Here we go. Let's go. You got to pay for it just before we start. You know what? The best thing is, I know you want £100 million for this wedding, but I'm only going to give you 70. That'll be all right, won't it? Get out. And then you sat there in the rain whilst everyone is with you going, we told you this would happen. And they're like, oh, I really thought they'd let us have a reduction because we did it last minute. Exactly. It's not the best analogy, but it works in relation to the situation whereby that is what we've done. We've caused this massive hoo-ha around this great signing, and then when it comes to paying for it, we've gone, oh, we really thought you'd let us have him on the cheap. Mark, how are you getting on? 23 million for Brewster, and we can't get Lingard off the books. Lingard has Premier League and international experience, says Happy Ooh. And Glazers and Ed giving me more headaches than my girlfriend, and that's saying something, says Sean Collins. Ooh, sexist. Anyway, look, let's see what happens. My prediction for the weekend for Man United against Spurs is 2-1 United. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but we need the points. But let's not pretend. This is all about... I mean, we should be talking about Mourinho versus Ollie. Couldn't give a shit at the moment. It's all about what United are going to do in the transfer window. And look, what I would say is this could change in the next 10 minutes, the next half an hour, the next 4 hours. Something's got to happen and happen soon. So make sure you subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. We will be live as soon as something happens. Subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Smash a like on the video. What's going to happen? Ollie wants to sell James so he can get Sancho. United are trying to, Barcelona are trying to get us to pay money for Dembele, and United apparently considering to do it. Where will it end? But will this bid for Sancho go in, or are United going to bottle it? Let's see what happens. Speak to you all in a minute.